First tonight, getting your teeth fixed can take a big bite out of your bank balance. Some dentists have reduced their costs here in Ireland, but low costs abroad means that dental tourism is still a booming industry. But just how much money do you save? And if something goes wrong, what comeback have you got? Tadhg Enright has been looking into it.
What's the worst part of it? Is the pain or the price?
Probably the price.
Would you go abroad?
I've mixed opinions about that, to be honest. I've talked to people who have been abroad with good experiences and bad experiences.
I think you know what you're getting here, and I have never had a bad experience in Ireland with a dentist.
I don't think I'll go abroad.
You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who enjoys a trip to the dentist, but sometimes the most painful part is the bill.
The Consumer Show examined prices across Ireland and compared them with those in the north and Hungary. For example, crowns cost an average of €787 with an Irish dentist. In the north it was €475 and €293 in Hungary. So I went to Dublin's Northumberland dental practice to ask why.
Typically, the further you go from Ireland, the lower wages are, which is a big factor in dental treatment and other overheads such as rent and utilities and things like that. So they all play into it. Insurance, all of that tends to be more expensive here than it is in other countries. And of course, dentistry's become more competitive here as well. How much have costs come down here in recent years, since the financial crisis, since dentists had to start displaying their prices? The cost of treatment here has probably fallen 25–30%.
But consumers are shopping around and going overseas. Howard Simpson is all smiles after his foreign dental work having been priced out of treatment at home.
I went to a clinic in Dublin and I was given a price of €25,500 for the work that I needed to have done.
And €25,000 was prohibitive, I take it?
It was out of my league. Yes, it is.
After a consultation at a clinic in Budapest, he was quoted €10,500.
Right, for €10,500, I had 24 crowns and 3 bridges done, which is a huge amount of work. So obviously the price pleased me.
For world-class cosmetic dental care,
Howard went to Creative Dental in the Hungarian capital, which claims to be one of Europe's leading dental clinics.
Should you make a big decision like this based on price?
But obviously, if you're in need, because you can't find a solution in your own country, you have to find, and I have loads of stories like that, to try to find a solution somewhere else.
And if an Irish patient were to ask you, would it be as good as the dental work I'll get done here in Ireland? What would you tell them?
I would say definitely at least as good, if not better.
But not everyone has had a good experience overseas. Maurice Hannon researched Hungarian dentists on the internet because he couldn't afford dental work here at home. A different clinic in Budapest quoted him €8,000, which he went for, even if he was overwhelmed with how much work they proposed.
What happened when you were away?
I suppose I had a comprehensive plan. I got 14 crowns.
Okay.
You know, very comprehensive.
Did you go home a happy man?
One thing galled me. My 2 front teeth seemed to have 2 marks on them, and they told me it was for ageing purposes.
For ageing purposes? What does that mean?
Instead of coming out with all these shiny pearly whites like the Americans, they should have kind of these 2 little marks in your teeth that would blend in with your other teeth.
Brian, what do you think about what you see here?
Yeah, Morris has some crowns that were placed that don't fit as well as they should, and so as a result he has some inflammation of his gums.
The real problem started when Maurice came home. His teeth were painful and eventually he developed an abscess under his new bridge, which ultimately had to be taken out.
What are you left with now?
I'm left with a dental plate now, currently.
Would you mind showing us?
Not at all.
Did you talk to the clinic about the problems you'd had?
I made attempts and ultimately I sent a letter. It was returned to me in the post.
Return to sender.
Return to sender.
But now, how much is it going to cost you, or how much has it cost you to put it all right?
I've spent €2,500 to date. Ultimately, at least another €5,000 to €6,000.
It certainly seems like a lot of treatment for someone who has basically quite good teeth. If you've had treatment here locally, you can go back to the dentist, you can go for mediation, you can go to the dental council. If everything fails, you can go see a solicitor. If you've had treatment someplace else and it goes badly wrong, you have very few options.
There are 2 bodies keeping an eye on the dental industry in Ireland. Representing the professional interests of dentists, the Irish Dental Association.
Why are so many Irish people going abroad for treatment?
Well, we're not sure exactly how many people are going abroad, but it's consistent with across the world people are perfectly free to choose where they're treated by their dentist.
But people aren't going to go to a faraway land for medical treatment unless there's some benefit, and that benefit must be price.
Well, there's a lot of advertising encouraging people to go, and while it often appears to be an attractive proposition, the experience is that sometimes, you know, people need to make decisions based on value. It's not always the best decision.
The other body is the Dental Council of Ireland, which regulates dentists and advises consumers. Do you hear the same horror stories that we hear from some people about bad dental work abroad?
We would hear some stories about it, but I would think probably the vast majority of people that go abroad for treatment are treated safely and are satisfied with the standard of treatment that they got and are satisfied with the results.
So if I'm a patient and I'm thinking about going abroad for my treatment, what should I do beforehand?
The Dental Council has issued a guide to patients in choosing a dentist, and that would include both a dentist in Ireland or a dentist overseas. And one of the things we would ask to check out is that there is an aftercare service available, particularly if they are going abroad and they are getting intensive work done, that if something does go wrong or they have a particular issue, that there is some way that they can readily access help if it's required.
We would say satisfy yourself that you're seen by appropriately qualified dentists, and that all the standards that you would expect here in Ireland obtain wherever you decide to go.
And if you follow all those suggestions, there's nothing to say you couldn't have a perfectly satisfactory experience overseas.
We'd certainly like to think so.
It's probably the best investment I've ever made. I'm proud to open my mouth now and let people see what I have. You could say it has changed my life.
I've only myself to blame. I should have done more research. I would countenance anyone going there and saying, look, do your research, but in particular, what is your post-treatment plan?